Hi, welcome to Teaspoon Retro. I'm your host, Teaspoon, and today I'm going to talk about a little game that I absolutely love, and it's called Lemmings. Released on the 14th of February 1991 by DMA Design and publishers Psygonis. Is that how we say it? Psygonis? Psygonis? However you say it, and was a puzzle game, and it was extremely popular with a lot of people. Became a very big hit, and not more so than by myself. Yes, I was one of those who settled down to play Lemmings and instantly fell in love with it. I've included a little bit of footage of some of the early levels of Lemmings and one of the harder levels. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Oh, the sound of those little lemmings and the excitable "let's go" was, well, it just gives me chills. It really takes me back, it does. And imagine these graphics after sort of being used to the more primitive graphics, I suppose you could say, of the Amstrad, and that was my previous computer, an Amstrad CPC 464. Fantastic machine, honestly. So the Amiga was definitely a big step up. No more 10-minute plus load times. These came on floppy disks, not the actual floppy disks, but the 3 1/4 ones. Anyway, back to the video. It's been a long time since I've played this.
Let's go!
You felt a sense of responsibility looking after these little lemmings, these little green-haired, overall-wearing, curious creatures who had the unique ability to get into as much trouble as was humanly possible. Or should that be lemmingly possible? second level, and here we are.
Let's go.
Now these early levels obviously were very simple, just to sort of ease you into the mechanics of the game. The aim here was to obviously get as many lemmings out as possible, and the levels ranged from very easy, like these early ones, which, like I said, just ease you into sort of the mechanics of the game, how the things work, to the fiendishly difficult. The music, well, the music was superb. From my days of using the Amstrad, I mean, the Amstrad had a good chipset for music, and it was capable of producing some excellent music. But obviously the Amiga, with its 1 megabyte of RAM, expandable to 2 megabytes, which my dad did for me.
Let's go.
So, but the music here, it's really a fun game, really enjoyable, and I spent a good many hours trying to get these little devils out safely, or at least as many of them as you could possibly get out safely within the confines of the level. Graphics are really bright and colourful, and quite a step up from the Amstrad version, although they're going to be. The Amstrad was a tape-driven cassette machine, 8-bit, that only comprised of 64K of memory.
Let's go.
So just hammering down here with the little diggers, and then give each lemming the ability to climb, and out they pop. Out they go, one by one. Looks like the Amiga also had a fantastic chipset for music, and this music was great fun. Brings back so many memories. Just got to get this lone little bugger out. And off he goes, shimmying up the side of that wall face there. Honestly, with skills like that, you wonder how they managed to get themselves into trouble, don't you? And each level, of course, had a level code. So that you could come back later, input the level code and skip to that level without having to replay all these early ones. and sort of trying to hammer through this pillar. Just hammering your way through and on to the next one. This bit always used to frustrate me because they're just like little bits, then they'd stop and you'd end up sort of trying to get them to hammer the way through. As you can see, look, they're just climbing up the face there. It's like, no, I don't want to go there, I want to go the other way. And so, okay, let's try it from this angle. You know, trying to sort of get those little buggers. Come on, you little devils. You can see that's all of them that have come in, and without any problems, any real problems, we're getting them out again. Green flames, eh? What a strange universe this exists within. Like I say, this game was incredibly popular. It really was back in the day. Gosh, that makes me sound so old now, doesn't it? And like I say, it's a really fun game because it does get you into the mechanics and how to use the different abilities of the Lemmings to make your way through the harder levels, and the levels do get harder, which is part of the fun of it all. I mean, it's a puzzle, isn't it? It wouldn't be a very good puzzle game if it was ridiculously easy. Yeah, you do have to sacrifice the odd lemming, unfortunately.
Oh no!
That was just the nature of it. And you obviously had to make sure that you didn't end up killing too many lemmings, because then obviously you didn't pass the level. You had to get a certain amount out. Then we've got builders for this one. And as you can see in these early levels, you sort of only had one ability that you could use. So that obviously gave you a big, well, not so much a hint, it practically said to you, you need to use these to get out. But later levels obviously increase the difficulty by giving you a set number of different abilities. So they might give you some diggers or some bashers, as well as climbers and exploding ones. And that's all just with the idea of getting you into the game and making it more challenging, because there was more than one way to complete the level in those later levels. build that nice bridge across. And off they all go. Honestly, these lemmings are so clumsy. You'd think they'd start looking around a bit more and not keep falling down trapdoors.
But that's nothing compared to the horrors that lurk beneath the trapdoor. For there is always something down there, in the dark, waiting to come out.
Don't you open that trapdoor! You're a fool if you dare!
No, not that trapdoor. Come on you little struggler. As you can see on this later level, which as I said is far more difficult, you've got to now get these lemmings out, and as you can see every single ability has so many, so you've only got so many chances to get these lemmings out. You have a finite amount of resources available, so it's about figuring the best way to get as many of them out as you can. And the target in this level was 80%. And sometimes just holding some of those lemmings back, as I've done here, makes it far easier, to be honest. Especially when you're trying to deal with a lot of them coming in quite quickly. It's best to clear a path first and then take it from there. Okay, time to explode one of them so we can let the rest through. Just trying to build those ramps. And you sort of get a little bit of a warning of when it's coming to the end, because they'd placed down, I think it was 10 or 12 little blocks at a time. The last 3 you'd hear dee, dee, dee. So you knew you had to sort of select it again so they could carry on building some more. Then just bash through this last bit. And they're home. Now you have to get rid of the last blocker. You can do this either by exploding one of them or by using the nuclear bomb thing at the end there. Just to give you a little bit more background on this incredibly popular game, it sold 20 million copies between the various different ports. So it was released on a lot of different ports at the time, different computers. Like I say, there was the Amstrad version, the Amstrad CPC, there was the Amiga version. Incredibly popular, it really was. You also had a 2-player mode which took full advantage of the Amiga's ability to use 2 mice simultaneously. And this looked like it could have been quite fun. It would have been nice to go head to head against a friend. Like I say, this game was hugely popular, so as well as being ported to machines like the Amiga and the Amstrad CPC, it was also ported to the Atari, the Sinclair Spectrum. They were also ported to lesser known machines, say as a 3DO, the Acorn Archimedes, which I only ever saw in schools, Apple Macintosh, CD, TV, Commodore 64, Nintendo Entertainment System, Master System, Mega Drive and PC Engine CDI. At the time it gained one of probably Amstrad Action's highest scores, which was 97%. I can't recall a game that ever scored higher than that, and the Amstrad one. And on other platforms it scored similarly high scores, such as Magazine at the time gave the Mega Drive version 90%, and Commodore Force gave it 97%, similar to its Amstrad cousin, if you like. I have some fond memories of my art teacher demonstrating Lemmings on the Acorn Archimedes, which I only ever remember seeing in schools. I don't know whether it was ever properly commercially released outside of the school environment. But you know, the fact that it had a port to the Acorn machine was just a testament really to how popular it really was. Now it did spawn some sequels. There were Lemmings 2, Oh No More Lemmings, 3D Lemmings, and it went on to spawn some similar idea games like Humans. That too was built around the basis of allocating abilities to different humans to overcome obstacles in levels. And like I say, Lemmings has a timeless appeal. It's a game I've come back to again and again throughout the years, and it's never lost its lustre. It really is, even now, all these years later, when you've got games that are far more sophisticated now in terms of graphics. Lemmings really demonstrated how powerful gameplay is, and how if you've got great gameplay, graphics aren't as important. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of machines in those days, like I said, my Amstrad had 64k of onboard memory. So as you can imagine, there wasn't really memory to play around with graphics. So you had to be incredibly smart. And this is why I think some of the finest games that we ever had were released on the older machines. Because in those days, they didn't have the graphical ability to play with, so they had to make it all about the gameplay. Now, of course, there were some really rubbish games that were released back then. I can remember some absolutely dreadful ports of Pit Fighter, which was a game that came along after the popularity of Mortal Kombat. That was ported across to the Amstrad and it was absolutely woeful. Oh, one of the worst games ever. Yeah, I mean, if like Lemmings was scoring 97%, I think Pit Fighter scored something abysmal like 9%, something like that. Didn't score well at all. So in those days the gameplay was king. You know, you had to make it all about the gameplay. And its popularity throughout the years really demonstrates just what a cracking game it really was. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Thank you ever so much for stopping by and listening to me waffle on. So I hoped you liked this little foray into the world of 16-bit gaming in the 90s. The 90s. And the Amiga, which I was fortunate to get for Christmas 1993. I was the happiest kid on the planet, I can tell you. So, did you like this footage? Would you like to see more of videos like this? Let me know in the comments below. Share with me, if you have any, your memories of 90s gaming, 80s gaming, anything like that. Your favourite games, the games you thought were absolutely lousy. But thank you again guys for stopping by. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.